The struggle will be even worse for freelance writers in 2026 who do not develop project management systems. I'm Andy Ellis, and I built a six-figure freelance writing business, and now I help other freelance writers hit five-figure months with dream clients without the burnout, stress, and overwhelm. This is the number one system. You need to try to figure out how to automate your marketing. For 2026, there's a whole bunch of things that we can do to make the marketing process feel less like a slog and more like we're getting on this well-oiled machine. And especially when we're going into 2026, I think when you're planting those seeds, we got to plant as many as possible. But you might also want to consider doing a follow-up schedule of 1 month, 1 month. So when we're sending our initial set of LOIs, I usually recommend 50 to 75 LOIs a month. Or if that feels overwhelming, or it feels like, you're going to beat yourself up if you hit 52 instead of 75 or 71 instead of 75, do an hour a day of marketing. But I also think it might be helpful to start following up 1 month after and then 1 month after that with your LOIs. I normally don't follow up, but I think going into 2026, I want to experiment with this and see how it's going. So I would recommend that for you too. So that automation comes from using a tool called Boomerang. Boomerang makes it really easy to say, hey, if they didn't reply, put it back in my inbox in a month. If they didn't reply, put it back in my inbox in a month. Makes it very easy to follow up. That's the first one. The next one is LinkedIn Premium Sales Navigator. So for me, I really have been enjoying Crunchbase Pro. So I did kind of a free trial of that. I work a lot with startups, and I'm going to be venturing more into venture capital firms, but the LinkedIn Premium Sales Navigator platform is expensive. Let's just start there. It's expensive, but if you can afford it, it is a really great way to start creating lists of clients by niche, by revenue, by title, all the things that we look for in our ideal clients, and making sure we have that really honed in list. LinkedIn Premium Sales Navigator, like let's say you got a $2,000 or a $5,000 or a $10,000 project, that would be well worth the cost of LinkedIn Premium Sales Navigator. The other options that you have for free are Hunter.io and Apollo.io. Both of those let you kind of create these lead campaigns where you can find different companies and put them in like a little list. Hunter.io has campaigns that you can actually send out. I would be careful with those because I'm not sure how that works with spam. Sometimes if you're sending a lot of cold emails as a campaign, sometimes those can land in spam. And I still think that with all the changes with Gmail and all the different changes with Outlook, I think it's better to still send those one by one or send them in small batches to test whether they go to spam or not. But it's a free way to make a lot of lists and then double check revenue elsewhere. We want to get out of that feast and famine, especially in 2026. If you have ever been stuck in feast and famine, I know I have multiple times in my business. If you have been stuck, give me a thumbs up. Let me know that that's something that you're still struggling, especially when you're feeling maybe like things are a little bit shaky. To get further away from feast and famine, we need to kind of have this automated marketing thing where we have places to make lists. We have ways to follow up with tools that make it super easy. We have ways to find revenue really easy, and we want to use kind of these templates in our repeatable formula. So this is something that I have. I have LOI templates. If you're interested in those, you can go to mandyellis.com/templates to grab them. But you're using those templates, you're customizing them for each client. You're doing light customizations. They should also be customized per niche. And then you're creating these repeatable weekly formulas with your marketing, with these tools, so that you have outbound, you have follow-up, you have these places where you can make lists and find things, and you actually get to keep some of your brain space and your creativity for work. Number two here, you need to create some kind of onboarding SOP. And if you have the option, if your clients have mentioned this before, create some packages. I am not a fan of creating packages out of the blue or just people being like, make a package. I really think the most successful packages I've seen and my students have seen is create packages from what your clients have said. So go back and look at your client notes from the past year. Were there typical projects that you did or typical pieces of content that you can create a package for? The other piece is like you need to create a project SOP, which basically means a standard operating procedure. So you're creating ways that you do projects so that you can repeat that. We're looking for ways to create a system that might take a little bit of time to implement, but then it becomes really easy to do and it's second nature. We don't think about it. So for me, if you really want to shift in 2026 from order taker to decision maker, you need to have this system that you do your work. So whether that work is content strategy or brand messaging or copywriting or content marketing writing, anything that you're doing, create a system for how you do that work. So for example, if I'm writing an article, I always do a light outline with some headers. I put in all my research, then I write it. So it's all in one doc. That works really well for me. I go to sleep and then I edit it the next day. But you need some kind of SOP. And this also goes for onboarding. So onboarding for me is from the call all the way till when they send you some money. So your onboarding, you need to have those right call questions. You need to make sure you're sussing out the right clients so that when you send a proposal that includes the contract and invoice, this is why I like Dubsado for that. That's a great system and tool. That way, they're already more likely to sign the proposal in the contract and send some money, right? Send that upfront payment. So when you're onboarding, I think the best way that you can do that is create that high touch client experience. So really listen and pay attention on the call, ask those right questions. Oh, if you want to ask those right questions, you can grab my free seasoned veteran cheat sheet. So if you go to mandyellis.com/cheat sheet, I have a ton of questions in there that you need to ask on your client calls to suss out the right people to send proposals to, and get more of those high paying projects. So when you're asking those questions, now we have this process to suss people out on the call. Then we have this process, this next step of the process, which is sending that proposal out to your client, that which includes the link to that proposal, also includes multiple pages. The first page is the proposal, second page is the contract, third page is the upfront invoice. It makes it look super smooth and pro. It creates this really nice way for if clients have any questions on any step of that onboarding process, they can reach out. We're also able to like automate more information from that. So you can then pull data from Dubsado telling you how things are going. So this is another thing that when you're doing these SOPs or you have different things for onboarding, you can check in on that in Dubsado. And you also are creating this kind of clear communication through the whole onboarding process for your client. And when you're on the call, because you have a standardized way that you do your projects, you can explain that to your clients and they're like, oh, sounds good. Let's work together. It doesn't come off as like, I don't really know what I'm doing or how to do this or how this figures out. You can explain what you're doing, how you're doing it, why you're doing it, and how it helps them. And that's really important for moving into this kind of project management system across your packages that you would be offering, across the onboarding, and across those SOPs. Number 3 here, you need to track the data, okay? We cannot go into 2026 without you tracking data. And this really helps you break those income plateaus, break into your best freelance writing year ever, especially when you're feeling like things are shaky. This data will tell you the truth. So this is something that I think is really important, where there's a lot of fear going on, but there's not a lot of data to back up that there's no clients and no work. There's actually way more data out there that shows there's lots of clients who need help and who have budgets and who want to work with you than there is fear from freelance writers that there's nothing going on. So you need to look at the data in your business. You need to be tracking those revenue ranges in your spreadsheet for your clients. You need to track what your 3 to 6 months of work is. Like, how does your calendar look? When are you taking time off? Where did you fall into feast and famine last year? And how can we kind of fill our marketing pipeline or follow up with past clients or follow up with warm leads? Warm leads, I classify as anybody who responded to an LOI, hopped on a call, or you sent a proposal contract invoice to and they didn't go anywhere. We need to go look at that data. That data is in your LOI spreadsheet. It is in whatever project management tool you use. I like Dubsado. I think freelance writers skip this part, and it's one of the most important pieces because the data tells you that. And if you have a tool that is already tracking these things, some kind of system that's tracking like where your projects are coming from, or tags that you can assign to projects, or success rates, or that calculates, your response rate for your LOIs, or amount of, this type of client is working really well. That data is essential. Without that data, it's really hard to tell where your business is going. And it's very easy to fall back into there's no money in clients, even even when the data doesn't support that, even when all of the stats support that more and more people are relying on freelance and fractional help because it's a lot easier for businesses right now. It is really where the market is going. So track all the things in your business, get a tool or a system that is already tracking those things. So all you have to do is log in and it'll show you all the important stuff. I love Dubsado for this. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. Number 4. Okay, number 4. Last thing here. Time management. I know that this is something I get asked about all the time. I am very deadline driven, so I will be working backwards from my deadlines. You need to figure out in 2026, what is your best time management strategy? The way to do that is to look back on the last few years of your business. Where were you doing your best? Did you do your best with time blocking? Did you time block certain times of the day to write and that worked well? Did you use something like the Pomodoro method or some kind of app? I used to have an app that would like grow little digital trees while I worked. Did you use deep work sprints? Like, did you have specific weeks or specific days where you did deep work on your projects or deep work on your marketing to make sure everything is working out? Or did you set up your weeks as theme days? Mondays are for marketing, Tuesday is for client work, Wednesday is for calls, etc. Right? So you need to look back on your last few years and see what was working for me, what has worked best. Time management isn't about trying all of the techniques. It's trying to figure out which ones have proved to you that that's when you work your best, or that's when you're organizing your work or creating your best content or able to get into that deep work or deep creativity space to get it done. So your time management is not just about managing the minutes and the hours. It is about managing how you're doing the work overall, month to month to month. It's not daily time management. I think that's kind of a mistake that writers make, is they're like, well, how do I get the most out of my day? Really, you should be looking at your overall month and seeing, how is this working? The last thing here that I really love to do is I check my calendar the night before every day. So Sunday night, I will review my week. What is coming up? I do this every Sunday. What is coming up this week? Monday night, I review Tuesday. Tuesday night, I review Wednesday. I do this every week. Sometimes, actually multiple times, I will review the month as a whole. And writers don't do this. They don't keep track. They just work day to day. You need to be looking at the big picture. And the most successful writers I know are doing that too. They're checking things the night before. What's coming up this week? What's coming up tomorrow? And they're doing that on a consistent basis so they can remind themselves of deadlines and things they need to get done, and all the important stuff that really matters to managing your time on a weekly and monthly and yearly basis. So I hope that this has been helpful. If you feel like it's been helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you want to learn more about techniques for 2026 as a freelance writer, or just improve and grow your business, income, clients, or fix your schedule, or work on time management, make sure to subscribe. Next time we are talking about this video right here below me. This is me explaining what I would do if I was starting my business over in 2026. So I've been doing this for almost 13 years. This video right here is going to tell you what I would do if I was restarting my business in 2026. So hope this has been helpful, and I will see you next time.